Hello and welcome to another video. In a previous video I showed you my Phase 2 PWM PCB work with the BLE code. I will link the card above. This time we're focusing our attention back to the ESP32 controller. Now in a previous video I did a quick demo of the controller running a Raspberry Pi robot. However, I will show you the board work properly. In this video I will run the basic, bidirectional communication, potentiometer, and button tests. I will link a Medium article list referencing the code and the GitHub repo as well in the description. Let's get started. Alright, so let's get started. Now here's the code we're going to use for the Raspberry Pi and the ESP32. It's right here. So I will be referencing the code from this GitHub repo constantly. Also, there's something else that I forgot to show you, but I will also make this available in the description. It is the ESP32 controller PCB GitHub repo. I will also make this available in the description as well, so if you want to build one yourself. Alright, so as you can see, I have the Pi set up. I already have the virtual environment ready to go. And I have the ESP32 ready to go as well. So this is all the setup that we need to do. So the main focus here isn't the code, but rather the demos. So let's just get to the demos. Alright, let's start with demo 1. So here we have the BLE ESP32.py code and the ESP32 correct.py code. In fact, in my repo, it's referenced here. Right here, this is the code for the ESP32 and for the Pi. I know I kind of named it weird, but it does work. And I forgot to mention, I will also make the playlist of the Raspberry Pi ESP32 videos available in my description, so you can reference those tutorials as well. So let's first run the ESP32. Let's wait for it to run. Alright, so it's running now. Now we can run ESP32 correct. Now we just want to wait for it to connect. Alright. And yes, the LED is blinking. I know you can't see it, but it is working. And the Pi is also reading the temperature of the ESP32. This is in Fahrenheit, by the way. This is not Celsius. If this was Celsius, my ESP32 would be dead right now. But it does work. So let's stop it right now. So there you go. And I'm going to stop this as well. So that's it for demo 1. So I will move on to demo 2. Alright, so let's move on to the next demo. So here I have ESP32 two-way.py. This code is going to be run here on the Pi, and here we have BLE two-way.py. And this comes from this directory in the repository under the folder ESP Pi Dual. And again, I will have the playlist linked in the description so you can reference that. So let's run this first. I had to reset this again because it always crashes after you use Bluetooth. Alright, so now let's do this again. I messed up on the recording before. So there you go. It works. We can read the temperature here, and it says hello from Central here. So it works just fine. So basic and bidirectional communication work. So let's stop the code now. And of course the Pi stopped by itself. So that's it for this demo. Let's move on to potentiometer control. Alright folks, so let's move on to potentiometer control. So I have BLE pot.py and ESP32 correct.py ready to go. And it's referenced to this directory. Now ESP32 pot will run in another segment. So let's get the basics out of the way first. So I'm going to run this code first. I'll wait for it to run. Alright, so we're ready to go. and we're going to connect, and it's already connected. So let's move the potentiometer. I'm moving it. You can see it's moving just fine. Now let's move it back to 0. And there we go. It works. So I'm going to exit out of this code and exit out of this code. All right, so we are now done with this test. Let's move on to the next demo. All right, folks, I had to redo that demo again, but as you can see, I have the code running already. So I have BLE pot.py running here and ESP32 pot.py, and you can see the LED is already bright. So let me reduce the brightness. You can see it's back to dark. Now let's do it again. So you can see my finger move. And you can see it's working properly. Now let's send it back to dark. And done. There you go. It's now back to 0. So let's end this test. So I'll stop the code here. And I'll stop the code here. All right, so we're done. Let's move on to the next demo. All right, let's move on to button control. This is important because we have BLE button here, and we're going to rerun ESP32 correct. However, I called it connect on this one, but it still works the same as always. So yes, ESP32 connect and correct are the same code. So just to be clear on that. Anyways, let's run this first. All right. Now let's run this. Okay, so. Okay, I have to make sure I have the right button. Okay, so when I press it, it goes to 0 and then 1. Remember, this is a pull up because it's connected to ground, not a pull down. So as you can see, when it goes to 0, that means the button's on, and when it's not, it goes to 1. So button control works just fine. Let me exit out of this. And I'll exit out of this. So that's it for this demo. Now we will move to button LED control. So let's move on to that. All right, folks, so we're back to the final demo. We're going to use BLB button.py again, but this time we're using ESP32 button.py. So first, let's run the ESP32 code. So let's make sure we get the advertising. All right, so we got that. Now we can run this code. All right. So let's make sure it works. There you go. It works perfectly. Just to give you an idea, here's my finger pressing the button. And there you go. So now let's end this code. So I'm going to, then I'm going to end this. And there you go. That's it for the final demo. So that's it for this video. As we can see, the board works properly. However, expect to see this board in future tutorial videos. And this will be my last video where I show you the board being demoed. Unless I get a new board, this will be the last video. So for For the next few videos, we'll be going back to tutorials and demos. So thanks again to PCBWay for sponsoring this board, and I'll see you guys next time.